and welcome to Monday Morning Detective, the podcast. I'm your host, Gino Scala, and this is episode number 62, the Natalee Holloway murder. And this case began in 2005. Now, I'm here in Alabama now. I live here. Natalee Holloway was from the Birmingham area in Alabama. And this story was reported on an almost daily basis in the beginning, and then later on, they reported on certain anniversaries or any news breaks that came along regarding the case. And with the suspect, Joran Vandersloot, there were many news breaks along the way. He kept himself in the news quite a bit. With this case as well as others. Now you might recall Vandersloot. He is the son of a ambassador from Denmark, a very high-placed politician there. A lot of money, a lot of power. And Vandersloot made a home on the island of Aruba. Now, I'm not going to get into the, many years of the investigations and the failures and things of that nature. Let's just say I'm not going to Aruba anytime soon. As beautiful as it may be, I wouldn't provide them a penny of tourism money. And I think as a people, especially here in Alabama, but as American people, we should also ban traveling there. They are a crooked police organization, a crooked political system there. And again, there's no amount of sand and sun that is going to get me to support that kind of environment. Well, that being said, Natalee Holloway was a senior in high school. Just graduated, and this was part of her graduation present, was a school trip to the island. And on the last night that they were there, they were scheduled to leave the next day. They all went out to party, dance at a local bar and disco, and Natalee was either drugged or had too much to drink. This islander, Joran Vandersloot, and two of his buddies. Now, we haven't heard any more about the involvement of the buddies, but Joran, as part of a plea agreement, he confessed today, and that's what we're going to discuss. Now, just to backtrack a little bit, he had been a strong suspect pretty much from the day his name was mentioned in the investigation. He's very suspicious. Obviously, his father helped him out quite a bit, not only financially, but politically in this situation. And the police did not lean hard enough on him, in my opinion. And this allowed Vandersloot to be free, and he then went to, I want to say Peru, where he ran into another woman, killed her, stabbed her, was caught for that crime and sentenced. And at that point, the U.S. pulled its political powers to get him to the United States. Now, he'd also committed a felony by attempting to blackmail the Holloway family. In return for $250,000, he was going to provide information as to where her body was hidden. And, this is a criminal act of which he was charged in absentia. He was out of the country at the time, and they issued an arrest warrant. So when he was taken into custody, he was extradited to the United States. At that point, well, I knew once he was arrested in South America that he was eventually going to confess, because he had nothing to lose at that point, only something to gain. And that information as to what happened with Natalee's disappearance was the only thing he had left to trade. Now, I don't know the full extent of what that deal includes. It really doesn't matter to me. But needless to say, he's going to do prison time here in the United States, and then back in that South American country, should he survive prison here in the United States. So this is what he's saying, and I'm going to read it because it just came out. Van der Sloot had been a suspect for over 18 years, and he stated that after picking her up at the bar, he took her to the beach where he began to molest her. It basically comes down to he sexually molests her. She fought him. She fought him the entire way, and good for her. This guy is a tall, good-looking guy, but he's an animal. And he's probably very charming. They always are. And I'm glad to hear that she did not give in to his advances. That's a personal note. When he would not stop, she broke from him and then kneed him in the groin. Good girl. After kneeing him in the crotch, the enraged killer knocked her out by kicking her extremely hard in the face. These are his words. Then he grabbed a nearby cinder block and confessed, "I smashed her head in with it completely." And having seen traumatic head injuries by objects similar to cinder blocks and vehicles and heavy objects, it is grotesque. And obviously she was killed immediately. My guess is she didn't feel anything because she was knocked out, according to him. Disposed of her body in the water. And this was something that was suspected all along. The water is a graveyard. The ocean there, or anywhere, is a watery grave. And if you have wildlife that Aruba has, like sharks, the body's not going to last very long, especially when they don't find it quickly. So there you have it. He has been sentenced to 20 years as a result of this, and it is to run concurrently to the 28-year sentence he was serving in Peru from the 2010 slaying of Stephanie Flores. Now, when they run concurrently, they run at the same time. So he's not going to be in jail beyond 28 years. And while that is not an ideal sentence, one can only hope that he suffers a terrible fate in prison, and but obviously to the Holloway family, finally knowing what happened was worth not putting him in jail for the rest of his life, I suppose. Now, prison sentences, you either run consecutively or concurrently. And what you really hope for as a prosecutor or the family of the victims is consecutive. That means he'll serve 20 years here in America, then be extradited back to Peru, where he will serve out the remainder of his 28-year sentence. So it's a total of 48 years. But in this case, obviously he had strong leverage, and he was able to get probably not the minimum, but close to it. And clearly, the running of the sentence concurrently was a big victory for him. So that'll do it for episode number 62, a follow-up to the Natalee Holloway murder. And this, I suppose, puts a final bow on this case, unless other information comes forward. I personally will be hoping and praying every day that he does not survive through Christmas, but certainly not the 20 years. And with that, we'll sign off. Thank you for joining us here at the Monday Morning Detective, the podcast. If you do me a favor and like this video, and also subscribe to the channel, and we have many more stories to tell. Alrighty? You all have a good day, and talk to you next time. Bye-bye.